is the beginning of week 2 of Operation Organize, and we're making a little bit of headway, I think. Let me show you a couple of things that we have decided to do. This rolling cart here from Michael's, I know I've seen a lot of people use rolling carts like these. This is perfect for the 8.5 by 11 cardstock sheets. I use it for my machine, my Cricut machine. I also have the extender by the 143vinyl.com, so that if I have larger cuts, I can just extend this out and not have to worry about my mat falling off. Another thing that we decided to do is in our closet, we decided to make our closet that's next to the room, make it the most accessible items. So for us, that's the vinyl and the HTV. So there's an entire tower of that. I will have to make labels eventually for them. And then we're still figuring out what the tower next to it is for. Working on that. And this will also be the sewing area as well, since that's something you want to have accessible to do short, quick projects. But if you need long-term storage, that's what we decided would be best. The other thing that I did tell you I was going to get was those bins from Target. I'm addicted to the bins now all of a sudden, and they're not very expensive at all. There's $2, $3, and $4 versions of it. But you can see over here now my stamping has homes. So my embossing powders have their own box with a glitter, and my stamps and stencils are sharing a box right now, but most likely I'll get a second box as my collection grows. But I thought that was really cool. And then the one thing though that I so dread when it comes to organizing and sorting, when I have stuff that I use so often and so regular, would be my top 2 products. I use HTV glitter, and I use HTV foil. And so right now they've been housed in this little box, which is great because most of it stores better when it's flat, but it gets out of hand really quickly, especially when I'm making a lot of projects quickly, especially during the holidays this year. I think that box was just completely thrown apart all over the floor everywhere for a good few weeks before I said enough is enough, I gotta throw it all back in. The tip I have for you though is to just take the time, throw on some real fun music, and just sit there and if you're doing storing flat versus in the rolls, which I tend to like for the heavier or the harder to work with materials like the glitter HTV and the foil HTV, because you don't want creases, you don't want crinkles, and they are thicker materials. So just take that extra effort to make sure your materials are preserved well, because it's frustrating when you're like, but I can't use it because there's a huge crease that won't come out even if I heat it up. I've had that happen on projects before. I won't ever go back again. And also, my hope is to remember that I want to also put the heat and set times for each of the materials, because the glitter HTV is tricky. So is the glitter foil or the HTV foil. And so I'm going to try to remember to do that. Maybe because I made a video, I will. So today I am repurposing new to the craft room furniture. Let me turn the camera around and show you. So you can see here I have this cart, and it is stuffed full with a bunch of different projects. I have my HTV projects, I have projects for clients, I have stamping projects, I have wood burning projects, jewelry making, keychain making, card making. The list goes on and on. But I also have these I got from my garage. The story behind it is that My husband and I used to run a detailing shop for about 6 years, and we had these carts. We had to learn to work in really tight spaces. And so having these carts were really convenient for us when we had a small space to work in. We would put all the immediate things we needed. We could make all our mess on the cart, so anything that was messy would stay on the cart, and then we would trade it out either at a break or at the end of the day. And so you didn't have to worry about going back and forth or stuff being hidden places on shelves and everything. You started the day with everything you needed on the cart. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to repurpose the 3 carts that I have from our workshop, and I'm going to put it in the design lab. So one thing I've learned about cleaning your craft room, slow and steady wins the race. Yes, company comes over and you gotta quick hide stuff, that happens. But I wanted to also show you a trick I have. You know how a lot of us in our houses somewhere, we have a junk drawer. Well, I have it's ready-made, but I don't have a use for it yet drawer. Here you can see I believe it's from Michael's or Recollections, little 12 by 12 storage case with a handle. And basically you can see inside, it's all just little bits that I intended to put in projects and they just never worked, or they're recycled from a different project that I ended up not needing permanently. Another thing I also wanted to show you was that don't be bothered if you decide to start another project in the middle of cleaning. It's okay. I have a couple of special orders that I have to get done this week, and so I have to pull out some stuff that I just put into a nice spot, and it fit perfectly, but now I have to utilize it. So I'll show you. Let me flip the camera. For example, my mom she's making gnomes, and she needs to have them made by the end of the week, and so she's starting on them already. So her once clean side of the table is now not as clean, which is okay. It's totally fine, but at least now we know for space-wise what we're working with. I can also show you that the top portion of the shelving in our walk-in closet now has organization. It's still not all in great containers and perfect looking containers, but that's okay. We're working with what we have instead of going out and buying 50 new products that we don't need and cluttering up our space. So everything, as long as it's organized enough that when one of us needs to go find it, it's there and we know what it is, why it's there, and we're not wasting space, but we're also not putting something that isn't used as often in a space that should be for more used items. So I also have a confession to make that I do have junk boxes too, not just a little 12 by 12 box. I have a box of memories, it's memorabilia, papers, etc. Actually, it is now 2 of them. 2 boxes that I've eliminated it. It used to be about 8 boxes. They are narrowed down to 2, which is very difficult for me because some of them are clothes, some of them are articles from memories, trips, things from our wedding, things from the birth of our children, and it keeps growing and I keep moving it, and it's okay though to have that because at some point I'm going to put them in either a memory box or some type of thing. And guess what? In every few years I go through the boxes again. I get sad over some of the memories because some people aren't with us anymore. But I also get to relive some of the joyful experiences of our lives, and that's pretty fun. It's kind of cool to me. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not in a good place. I can't be that emotional right now, which happens. So allow yourself that little bit of holding on to things. You don't have to hold on to everything. Please don't. Believe me, I basically tossed out almost an entire box of memories I had kept, I think, since I'd say college or high school, and I said, you know what, I don't need to hold on to those anymore. We're good. And it was a little sad. I had to go through them at least and give myself that emotional goodbye, but it was definitely a nice release, because then I'm like, hey, I don't have to worry about storing those anymore. So do what works for you, though. Don't worry. And if it doesn't fit in your space, then you might have to reevaluate it. But if you still have a little bit of room, it's okay. Give yourself a break. It's a-okay. Thank you for watching week 2's synopsis, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to be done very soon because we have some guests coming. If you can't hear all of the noise happening around in a lot of these videos, the children and the house is just completely full. So it's getting a little obnoxious to walk around stuff in the hallways, of course, and not having one room that people usually use occasionally not being accessible. So hoping to fix that very, very soon, and I will have another update for you shortly. Have a great day.